Are you crazy? Or are you just mad?
Hello. And welcome to the Mad Musicians Against Depression podcast, where we discuss the latest news, research and hot topics surrounding mental health. I'm Thomas Maher, and I'm joined in studio by my beautiful co-host, award-winning singer, songwriter and presenter, Indiraa.
Sorry, I'm not present. It's too early in the morning.
You're a peasant?
Yeah.
What do you mean
I'm a pheasant. I'm a pheasant.
Oh, you're a pheasant?
Yeah, I'm a pheasant.
So
I live on a farm. I'm a pheasant.
So you're a pheasant?
No, I'm a pheasant in present.
Well-endowed pheasant.
No, I'm a pheasant and I am present.
Okay, it's good that you're present to be a pheasant and pleasant, to be kind, to be cruel. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Mad Podcast. This is episode 50! This is the half century. This is the big one.
Yep.
This is 50. It is huge.
God, he can count as well. He can count. He can count.
And today is a very, very, very special episode of the Mad
Lucie
Podcast.
in the sky with diamonds.
Has she got diamonds?
She got diamonds, yeah.
No. What's with Indiraa saying? We've got a very special guest on the show
very
today.
special. She's beautiful as well. She's very beautiful, yeah.
She is, yeah.
Yeah.
She is. So remember, folks, we said 2 weeks ago when episode 47, whatever it was, we said we had a special guest coming in to talk about her story. She has an extraordinary story, which starts from her childhood, actually, culminates into her moving to the UK, getting into a very bad relationship, marriage, and how she struggled through them. It's an extraordinary story. So welcome, Lucie, to the show. Yes. Are you as mad as we are? Mad Hatters?
I have to be soon. Looking at you two, I may have to change into my mad personality.
Mad.
She's already mad. She's just pretending to be really mature and shit, right?
Yeah, she is like a bad cheese.
Like a bad cheese.
Thanks for that. I hope I don't smell as bad.
No. But I've been too cheesy. So, Lucie, welcome anyway on this positive note, serious positive note. You've got an extraordinary story you want to share with our listeners. What is actually, just give us a quick brief summary of what you want to do and then you can start from the very beginning. What is it, the story you want to share with us?
Place to start.
So I would like to tell everyone about kind of my experiences living not only in the UK but living abroad and going through things, hard times, but literally coming out on the other side. And now everything is okay. You know, the life wasn't okay. Now the life is okay. It's a bit mad occasionally, but you know, it's what happens. And then it has been years since I have kind of felt this relaxed and okay about life. I feel that things are finally turning, that things in my life are changing for better, that finally the horrible hard times are over now.
Settled,
yeah.
It's good.
Well, it's been a long journey for you, because when we spoke about it, obviously off air, you've quite an extraordinary story. It starts from your childhood, because that's where the story begins. And so take us back from the very beginning. Start from your childhood and tell us everything you want to tell us about this story.
So starting from the childhood, I didn't really know that it started from childhood. It's only that I've realized how deep my childhood wounds were when I started going through counseling. And I actually went for counseling to deal with my divorce and deal with coming to terms with the way I was treated by my ex-husband. But it took me all the way back to my childhood, and I started sorting out the relationship with my mum more than with my ex-husband. Wow. So it's just realizing how far and how much things are affected throughout your life from your childhood. Obviously, my dad, he had his own problems as well. So it has been a lot of things which I had to deal with as a child. And then somehow I brought this, I don't know, almost like punishment to UK for me to be treated the similar way I was as a child here in UK.
So basically you're pre-programmed from childhood.
Yeah.
You took a lot
conditioned.
Conditioned, yeah.
But I think kids are like sponges anyway. That's the
Well, that's
the time they pick up the worst or the best.
Yeah, the formative years.
Is you don't realize until a lot later. And if I wasn't going on this journey of self-discovery and trying to work out where are my blocks, why can't I, for example, started my own business, why can't I progress, what is stopping me, why can't I appreciate things? Because I keep meeting people and they're saying to me, oh, you have achieved a lot. In my mind, until recently, I would say, no, I haven't. I would not see it. I would not see and appreciate what I have been through, what I have achieved, and what I'm still going to achieve in the future, because that wasn't done thing. That praise wasn't part of my life for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So even just the acknowledgement of the fact that I can do things right. Yeah. It's not always wrong. And things are actually happening in a good way and positive way. Yeah. And I am helping others as well on their journeys. That's a massive thing for me, because if I can help 1 or 2 people on their journey not to go through what I have been through, that would be amazing achievement for me.
So tell us what it was like for you being a child growing up. So, because obviously the person you are now, you could say the majority of that conditioning happened as a child growing up. So give us, our listeners, like what a detailed kind of outline of what was like for you growing up as a kid in your house with both your parents. Because you mentioned your parents a lot. Mm-hmm. So obviously they were a big part of how influenced how you grew up. So tell us, what was like growing up as a child?
So growing up as a child, my mom was very strict. And for her, playtime wasn't time. So I don't actually remember my mom giving me any physical love.
That's
in a
terrible.
way, hugs and cuddles or anything like that. My father was completely the opposite. And when my mom wasn't home, my dad was a very different person. So we used to fight. We used to have games with my dad. But we knew 3:00 in the afternoon, mom will be coming home. Everyone needs to tidy everything up and be outside doing work. So from the age, I think I was 10 or 12, I had to cook for the family. We had fields, we had small holdings, so I had to do all the work which was required for that. I remember every Sunday I had a massive pile of ironing. By the way, I hate ironing now. I don't iron. Ready for waiting for me to iron for not only for my family, but for my grandma as well.
Oh my goodness me.
So that would be my Sunday afternoons. And from that, I've always been more keen to be outside with the guys, helping, doing hard physical work, but it was so much nicer than being inside the home with my mom.
Yeah.
So because everything was done, had to be done up to her standards, but there wasn't any praise. So if I finished one job, there would be another one waiting.
Yeah.
And that has been done.
Did you try dragging your job so you didn't have to do more?
No, I've discovered that if I do a lot of schoolwork, then that is exception, and I don't have to do housework.
Oh, that's good then.
So I was always top of the class at school, because I spent lots of time.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom, for doing the homeworks and learning and stuff, because that meant that I'm not being told off. I'm on my own. I can take my time. So I was dragging out the learning bit.
Oh, that's good.
The homeworks took forever to finish.
I used to put romance books inside my books and read them.
No, I didn't go that far. That would be discovered if, my mom would have known.
Trust me.
Really?
With Dad, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Good old hammering there.
Oh, God. No. So
you had a brother. He's one sibling, just one brother?
I have one sibling. I have a brother, yeah.
So when you were obviously doing the ironing, what would your brother
be? What was he doing?
He would be outside doing something, either in the fields or doing something physical, fixing things. So we always had to do things.
Oh, he was in the same boat then?
He was in the same boat, absolutely. We both were doing exactly the same. And then my dad was, I knew it, I understood even as a child that it was very, very hard to be with my mom. So he started drinking to the point that he would be very unpredictable. We wouldn't know what day is going to happen, what day is not going to happen. But he was basically, there were days when he was trying to kill my mom. So as a child, you had to kind of protect your mom, whom you really,
Yeah.
But it was, I had to learn how to be very strong from very young age, because I knew my dad would respect and listen to me. It would be me stopping him hurting her.
But do you think he got courage from the alcohol to do things or say things that he couldn't do when he was sober? Because I know when I drank, I'd say the things I wanted to say, but it would come out wrong, but I'd still do that. But
he changed. It would be a completely different person. So from the absolutely loving, adoring father, he would change into someone who is able to be very violent and be very horrible, not to anyone else, just to my mum, because I could see he really did not enjoy and like the way we were living. We were not going on holidays. We were not allowed because there was animals to look after. Or if my parents went on holidays, one of them would be on holiday. Yeah. We would only go to like mountain cottage or something. And the other one would be at home looking out till after the small holding. And even now when I go to visit, I do feel for my brother because he lives next door to my mum. And I have kind of... Yeah, so he still has a lot of work to do. And he's joking about, he's like, every time I'm coming back from work, I can see them lined up. He's calling them the retirees are waiting for me by the side of the road to give me jobs to do. So it's...
Is he married?
He is married, has got 2 daughters, 2 lovely daughters. And he has built his own house. He built his own garage. He is very capable and very good when it comes to work. He has got very high work ethic.
Yeah.
So how would you looking back now with the eyes you have now and experience, how would you differentiate the relationship you had with your mum and he had with her? Were you treated completely different? Could you see like there was a low affection, a high control? Was he treated the same way?
I always felt that she liked him a bit more than she liked me. So I was dad's girl and my brother was mom's boy.
Mm-hmm. But it's always like that.
Yeah. Daddy's but that didn't stop her punishing us or punishing him, you know.
So you got punished as well?
Oh God, yeah.
So was she quite physical with you?
She was, or she would wait for my dad to come back from work and he was told to give us a good beating because we didn't do something or we broke something or...
Oh my God.
Very often I didn't even know what I did wrong, but I was still punished for it. So, you know.
So you punished for things you didn't do or maybe your brother didn't, you were punished?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Oh, did you blame each other?
No, it was because I was supposed to stop him, but he was stronger than me and I was not supposed to allow him to do things, but I didn't even know he did that. So we would both be punished for that, basically.
That's so wrong.
It's just, we're looking back at it. So as hard as it was, it prepared me for
anything
and adulthood as well, because I by the age of 18, 19, I was so independent. I could do anything, like build shelves, chop wood, cook, not iron.
And well, you could iron, you just didn't want to.
Do it,
yeah, exactly. So there were all these things which were happening to me as a child. But obviously you just grow up, you think that the kids have got similar upbringing. You don't really talk about this, you know. But we grew up at the times when this was kind of normal for kids to be punished. We were still smacked at school. So that was at the time with this
corporal punishment.
Yeah, that was still those days.
So do I get smacked at school or come home and get smacked?
Yeah. So it was, for us, it was normal.
Yeah. We
didn't think that much about it. It was more for me, it was the unfairness. Quite often when I would be punished for something my brother did, and I felt, oh my gosh, why am I being punished? How am I supposed to be knowing or stopping him if I don't have any power over him, really?
Yeah. So your mum, so obviously you spoke about your mum there. So on your dad's side, so he took to alcoholism, drinking. Was that earlier in your childhood? Or?
So I remember first incident, I was about 6 or 7.
Oh, that's very early then. Yeah.
That was the first incident. I was in bed and my mum came to lie down next to me, which I thought was really strange, or on my brother's bed. And then he came in and he started slapping her. And that was the first memory I have. But this was the least kind of hurtful thing. It progressed to a lot more
physicality
and unpredictability. So each time we knew we could see that he's drunk, we were running in, hiding all the knives, hiding all the things we could use.
Knives and everything.
Because we didn't know what technique he's thinking of today,
Yeah.
And it wasn't until later on that he promised I've learned that he promised to his father that he's going to stay with my mom until I'm 18. But that was almost like a torture. So I could see him, he was really suffering. And the alcohol was probably the thing he thought is going to help him. Or maybe it was something when he felt calm in his mind, or I don't know, when you're in this kind of situation, in this kind of mood, what exactly the alcohol does to
brain. It numbs the brain. The part that doesn't want to accept things gets numb. And you think, well, and it also gives you courage, don't forget.
That's definitely...
Well, it's Dutch courage, yeah. Of course, that's what it is, yeah. But so your dad was obviously very dissatisfied in his life.
Yes.
So that's really the root cause of how those behaviours kind of form, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, yes, and I knew that it's the alcohol which is changing him, making him to be a different person. And then... my parents divorced. Finally, I had to go to court actually to beg the judge to divorce him. My mom wasn't gonna divorce him.
She wasn't.
She was refusing to divorce him, and in that time, my dad already was with someone else.
Why did she want?
I don't know. To this day, I don't know why she wanted to be with him, because that relationship wasn't happy.
She wanted him to not have the other person.
Maybe it wasn't that she wanted to be with him. She probably didn't want to let him go.
Yeah, I think it's more the control.
Control, yeah.
And I've experienced it myself.
Yeah.
Not being able to let the other person go because you losing the control over that person.
Yeah, exactly.
So the similarities between my ex-husband and my mom is not as horrible in the way that she means well. My ex-husband didn't mean well. Everything was about him. But she means well in her own way. As my aunt says, she may behave the way she behaves, but she doesn't mean bad, but she just doesn't know. And I don't think that she has ever approached this. That in her mind, she doesn't need anything. She's fine. But if she actually went into it and tried to discover why is she the way she is, then I'm sure that it would be her childhood, isn't it?
Oh, for sure it is. Yeah, that's where it all stems from, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She was abused as a child. She had abusive father as well. So my nanny got divorced very early on when my mom was very little.
Yeah.
And then there was my mom, her mom, and my mom's sister. So it was three of them looking after smallholding, having a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like the tradition continued.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Someone once told me we're a product of our parents' fuck-ups.
Yeah.
And it's probably the best way you could put it. We really are.
There's a lot of truth to that, so there is.
Yeah.
So it is fair to say there was a lot of domestic violence in your upbringing, which obviously we're not going to ask you to talk about because obviously it's a sensitive subject, but that's the fair comment, isn't it? So you saw a lot of bad stuff going on in that house. So by the time, what age were you when you decided that you were going to basically pack up and just get out? Because obviously I know the reason why we spoke about it off air, you said that you've done very well in school, you were high motivation to achieve with good grades in school, and you got 15 A's and 1 B or something, or whatever it was, and the B was in English, and that's kind of was your motivating factor to come to the UK to better your English. So it was like a motivating factor, was it?
It was more of escaping. So it's two factors to it. One of it was I finished my nursing school and I was told by my dad, you're not going to university, you're going to work, you need to start paying your part here. So that was one bit, because that really, really disappointed me. Because I wanted to be someone, I wanted to achieve something. So that was one disappointing bit. Secondly, that was the divorce of my parents, which was really hard to kind of still be in that situation, because that, the atmosphere and everything was there. So it was, for me, it was escape, but escape to better myself.
Yeah.
And improve the English, because I have got this thing that if I can't do something, which includes baking, in the past I had, so I always baking or doing things like building things and stuff, I always try to learn about it and improve it. If it's within possibility, obviously I can't do everything, but things which really nag me, I always try to work on. So that was the two reasons for me to come to UK. And also I started working, I started having my own business at the age of 18. I started making quite a lot of money and it went into my head. I was a nice person. I've changed. And it could be all the situation that I was going on at home.
Well, it's just, of course it's freedom.
Yeah, of course. But it affected you because you said before you come to the UK, you started drinking heavily yourself when you were living in the Czech. So so it had a profound effect on you in that way, didn't it?
It did.
So tell us a little bit about that, because obviously you went through that period and then you came out again. Was it the move to the UK that didn't it? So tell us about that period before you came to the UK where you were drinking heavily yourself.
I was myself, my brother, we were both kind of drinking quite a lot and heavily. And for me, I think that going out with people and drinking was more, I'm escaping from home. I'm not home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's very often that you don't have the stop, do you? When you drink, sometimes you don't have the stop to say, oh, I've had enough. I don't have it.
Yeah, I don't have a cut-off point, which is why it's all or nothing, which is why now it's nothing. Because I can't have a glass of wine. There's no such thing for me. So
that was so that was part of it. So it's when I came to London, obviously I didn't know anyone, I didn't have any friends, so the drinking naturally had stopped because I couldn't speak to anyone. So because even though I had A-levels from English, when I came here and people started speaking to me, I had no idea what they're saying because the accent, the speed, the teachers.
But the English don't speak English anyway. Don't worry about it.
Oh, well, now I can, I can understand.
No,
but I remember even.
I'm not joking. That grammatically,
yes. Well, I knew everything on paper. I just couldn't speak it.
That's like my French. In my head, it works.
Yeah, exactly. But when you come to real life, I remember even post office, to post a letter, I would have to write a little note to show it, to go through the dictionary, find each word, to show it to the people. Tell them that I want to post a letter, So, and then I've started learning English and discovered that actually I've got a lot to learn. It wasn't that easy, and I'm not natural when it comes to languages, so it wasn't easy. No, it took a while. It took quite a while.
The irony of it now is you actually teach English to a very high standard.
Yes.
So there you go. It's what the achievement thing. So, sorry, Indiraa, you were going to say something.
No. I was saying that when you learn languages, foreign languages, you can formulate the sentences in your head perfectly. But when you try and deliver it, your tongue gets in the way or your words get in the way. I don't know how to put it, but honestly.
And it's not only that, it's the embarrassment, isn't it? When you say things and it comes out so wrong that you're trying to say one thing and you're actually asking for something else. And it's just because all my childhood and then throughout the marriage, I knew what I did wrong. I was told very strongly what I did wrong, but not what I did right.
Yeah.
So it's the worry that you're going to say something wrong. It's the worry that someone is going to point out you have made the mistake in that sentence.
Oh, that's horrible. Yeah. May I have 6 eggs, please? Can I have 6 eggs, please?
Well, you do 9 good things out of 10, but it's the one thing that everybody picks up on that you didn't do right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the problem.
99 good things in one.
It's always like that. Look at it. So your story really unfolds or becomes like a different
kettle of fish
part of your life completely when you escape, let's say, from Czech to come to the UK. So talk us through from you leaving Czech, the moment you left to the moment you arrived in the UK, how your life shaped from there. Because this is a really, really important part.
It was very hard though. So I couldn't speak English. I had twins to look after. First thing when I came to UK, I had 7-year-old twins to look after. Luckily, I was prepared. So the work didn't matter for me. I could do all the work. I could look after the house. I could look after the kids. It was more of being on your own in a country you didn't know and being very naive as well. Because I wasn't streetwise.
Yeah.
You know, I may know how to do all the physical work, but streetwise, no, not at all. So it was proper eye opener. Coming from a village to actually London, to live in London, was very, very different to what I was used to. So I was here for first year, looked after the twins, decided I need to stay because my English wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So
These are your kids.
No.
It's a job.
Oh, the twins.
The job.
The job
So
twins.
because
Okay.
at the time, most of us who came here at that time, because Czech wasn't in the EU, we came as au pairs.
Yeah, au pairs,
to get visa, but because there wasn't any other way really to come and A, work here, earn some money, and B, work on your English.
It's funny because that word terminology au pair doesn't really exist anymore. They call it now nannies is more the term that's used, isn't it? But au pairs, I haven't heard that actually. That been called that in a long, long time. But back when your time would have been au pair was a
No, we
big
always
thing.
call them au pairs. I still call
but now
them
it's
au
nannies.
pairs.
People say
Oh,
more
really?
nannies. Yeah, because it's more like a posh
But I
thing. I've
don't
got my own nanny.
think that there is the au pair tradition, I think, is no longer popular.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that word for a long, long time. Yeah.
May have to re-establish itself since Brexit, but I don't know about it right now. I don't know anyone who has au pair.
That's exactly. So go on, please continue.
Yeah, so I moved from one part of London to another part of London when I looked after two kids, and I've kind of started studying high level of English because my dream was, I thought, okay, I can't study university, that has passed, but I may be able to go back to Czech and teach English. So I wanted to get the highest possible level of English I could get. So it's now even that is called different name. So in the past it was proficiency English, now it's A1.
Okay.
So it's the markings and names for all these certificates are very different too. So I've studied, and then actually my ex-husband was next door neighbor, and he kind of started talking to me and asked the lady I was working for if his Polish nanny, funnily enough, or au pair can help out with on Saturdays, that he has got the job. And at the time I wanted to save money. I wanted to go back to Czech and buy my own flat and move away from the family setting if I was going to go back. And so the Polish au pair, who is actually not Polish, said yes. And then I started working for him, and then he started. He was very nice when he was like luring me in.
So this is your future husband.
My future husband, and so I was taken out for meals and
wined and dined,
and or cooked for, and
wow.
Yeah,
I love him now.
Got all the lovely presents and stuff, and. Then there came a time when I thought, okay, I need to move away from the family setting. I was looking after the two kids. They were getting bigger. And I was like, so what do I do now? So he said, just move in with me, because he was living, he had his own place. At the time, I was still working on Saturdays for him on the Saturday job for his business. And so I moved in. And then we actually... And it's not many people know about this. We actually got engaged in Czech when we went to visit my parents. And then within 2 weeks I was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
But that bit has been forgotten. It's almost like, then obviously when I was pregnant, it was a question of what are we going to do? Because I wasn't very keen on getting married. I'm not one of the girls who dreamt about the white dresses and everything else.
So it sounds like to me that he met your mum and he knew you were the woman for him.
Oh God, that's frightening.
But from the first moment, my mum did not like him. Really did not like him.
Well, it's opposites attract, and people who are similar will never get on.
I never looked at it from that point, but yes, that is true. That is very true. My dad was okay with him. My dad liked him, but then for them meant I am there. I will not want anything in Czech or any support.
One less problem.
By then he was with his new wife, but living in the same house as my mom, which was even worse.
This is so warped, isn't it?
I know, it's unbelievable, hey?
So your dad was living with his new
wife and her
same
child.
house. Yeah, her child.
In the flat I was supposed to be living in if I stayed in Czech.
Wow.
So obviously I knew I don't have anywhere to go now.
Yeah.
that has been taken, that flat. So
the proposal came.
The proposal came, we came back, and I got pregnant really quickly. But the thing is that he was controlling then, and I didn't realize how deep the control was. And I wasn't the first woman who got pregnant by him, because he had in his mind was like, you can't use the contraception because it's not good for you, blah blah blah, all these reasons. And
why is it not good for you?
The hormones and stuff affect your body, whatever. He had his
ideology.
And if you have to follow what he says to you, because and at the time I was obviously believing him, because he is the guy who I think loves me, and thinks
he can't
he
be
wants
wrong.
the best for you, and he can't be wrong, and he couldn't be wrong. More importantly, he could not be wrong.
Yeah.
I would know about it if I pointed something out, or that was later on. That wasn't at the beginning of the relationship. That was after I got pregnant, after we had to get married, because otherwise I would have to either leave the kids here and go on my own, or be deported or something, or go to Czech. That was an option, because I wasn't gonna abort.
That
was for me. I wasn't going to do that.
So, did you feel this control early in the relationship? When did you start noticing it? How soon?
When I moved in with him,
right.
Because it was.
Oh my God!
That was all about what I can use to clean certain things. But the way he was presenting it was, "This is better for you," meaning for me. If I do it this way, his way is better for me.
Right.
And to be fair, I thought, the men in UK are different, because they are very controlling and they're very strict. It must be normal in UK. I didn't know.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing in UK. I didn't know that was exception. I didn't know he was the controlling one, not the rest of the guys in this country.
Yeah.
So, and when I discovered, it was a bit too late. With the twins being already on the way. And the biggest control, or the worst times, came when I had the kids and I didn't have enough time to do everything up to his standards.
Oh no.
At home.
It was the same control freak thing about the household. Now he's of Asian background.
He is, yes. Yeah, he is.
Was he a mama's boy?
No, he was very horrible to his parents. And I always told him, I said, why are you so horrible to your parents? Because he was so nasty in the way to his parents. And that was during our marriage as well. And more I started pointing it out or saying things to him, the more punished I got for things.
So how would he punish you? What would punishment look like?
Physical as well.
It got to the physical point, but it's more verbal abuse and constantly being told that I am the stupid one. I know nothing. I am you stupid Eastern European who can't.
My dad did the same to mom.
Yeah?
Put her down all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the way of controlling, because you feel that you're nothing.
You feel it and you believe it. The worst thing is I started believing it. And I was at the point at my worst, I was scared to put a cup on the table just in case, or have it when he woke up because it wasn't supposed to be there. Or I remember one incident that, and I don't know if I had only the twins or if I had all three kids then. I cooked dinner and I put the plate out and he told me the broccoli is cold. So he had like meat, potatoes, and the broccoli was colder than the rest of the stuff. And that was a massive thing for him. How dare I give him something which is not up to his standards? And that's why I thought, oh my God, no, this I can't be in this. You know, I've managed to.
My stomach's going all crazy. I'm just listening to it and getting so wound up. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's getting me tense just listening to this, you know. Honestly, it's sad because it takes me back to mum and dad. Yeah.
And isn't it interesting how when you start talking about it, other people's stories start coming out?
Yeah.
And we all have story. We all have stories. Some of them are harder than others. We all have story. We all
Do
have
you like broccoli?
childhood.
That's the question.
I'm fine with broccoli. And I
Even
can have
cold.
it. I can have it cold.
Yeah. Broccoli
I
didn't
eat
do
cold
anything
broccoli.
to you.
No, luckily that was once. That wasn't every Sunday or every weekend, but it just shows the level of control. That's more of the point I was making.
Yeah,
I
so
know. I know. That's just being facetious.
when the twins came along, I mean, because you were still working for him at that time,
I was
weren't you,
still
at
working
home?
for him, yeah.
So, and you said,
For his business.
so what happened when the twins came along? What was changes obviously there then? Did he change soon after that?
No, it just got more intense. And
It started with the psychological abuse, was it?
yeah, that was there, but it just got deeper and more frequent because I wasn't managing everything.
Yeah,
I was on my own with 2 kids, twins, little things, and I had to work for him as well.
Being a parent is the hardest job anyway. A mother, I think. That's hard enough. It's a full-time job.
Well, this is the point, isn't it? You had twins to look after and you were still expected to do everything to the same high standards
That's so
that you
crazy.
were doing before the children came along. Yeah,
absolutely. And still be okay, still be smiling, not exhausted, because I was exhausted, especially the night. I was imagining things. I was up every hour, because they didn't synchronize. You think twins would feed in the same time. No.
Yeah.
You're up every hour because they take turns and then you have to spend time with them. So I didn't have help from him at all when they were 0. I don't think that he changed a nappy.
Wow.
It's nasty. That is really nasty. In this day and age, it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, no. And when I was hearing stories of my friends, their husbands coming home from work and straight away getting the kid and by the door, and it's like the kid is yours from now.
Yeah.
And they were at home, they were at home, but they thought, no, I didn't have that. I didn't have any support. On the contrary, I was being told off for not doing things the way I was supposed to the standards, the high standards, and having to manage the household, the kids, the work, and everything else. And luckily, that has been so inbuilt in me that I was able to cope with everything.
Yeah.
You had resilience in you from your childhood.
Not only that, I had very strong work ethic as well.
Yeah.
I could manage. So since I had twins, I have become so organized.
Yeah.
I can manage so many things in one day because I had no choice.
Yeah.
I had to do it. Otherwise, I would pay the price for it, for not doing it. So I had to manage everything in a certain order to be able to cope.
Yeah. So tell us about how it progressed. I mean, so it went from the psychological.
My stomach.
Warfare.
I'm so sorry. My stomach's just grumbling now. It's getting so tight.
Yeah. It's a very sensitive topic, isn't it?
It is such a sensitive topic.
It resonates.
So
obviously, there's a conclusion to all this, and it's like, but there's a story that goes along to what's
story goes along. So then it got to the point that second violent attack, I left. I literally, when it became physical abuse, and it got very violent, the last bit, and that was because I have decided to put my child to bed instead of taking the 2 dogs then out for walk. I have decided to prioritize my child because I was on strict orders. The puppies, the dogs have to be taken out every 3 hours, and I didn't do it, and they did their job in the garden.
Oh.
And that's when it all
kicked off
because I was not going to have it. And I actually stood up to him and I fought back. But it's literally, and then on that day, I remember I was shouting at the twins, call the police. But then I've managed to kind of get out of it because he had me in a headlock over like the kennel outside. So I managed to get out. I was so calm. I don't know how I did it. I said to the kids, we're going out. Took the pushchair, took the handbag and walked out. Never came back.
Wow.
For you.
I went to hiding. I sorted out the police next day because I literally had a strangler, like you could see the marks on me, strangulation marks. And so we reported it to the police. But then I was going to wait for the 2 years to go for divorce. And then I was trying to find the paperwork for my driving license because I needed to renew it. And he panicked. So he was the one asking for divorce. And that's even worse things kicked off. Because he, in this time, in the period of 2 years, he was trying to get me back. Manipulate me by, oh, if you come to my house, you will have food to eat. Because there were times when I didn't have any money. I didn't have
Food.
money to buy food, let alone have some lovely stuff in the house. But you can't replace that for the freedom.
No,
the freedom
exactly.
was, especially the first 2, 3, 4 weeks after we left, we could run around the house, we could make noise, we could leave things where we wanted them to.
Yeah, my God,
It
yeah.
was so
Not
different.
be punished for it, yeah.
Not be punished for it. So it took a while before we got divorced, but then the divorce proceedings have started. And when I thought it can't get any worse, that's when it got a lot worse.
And the shit hit the fan.
Oh God,
This
that
is
was
a
horrible.
really interesting part of your story. So tell us about this. This is what
So
fascinating.
for someone who has been arrested and taken to custody for domestic violence, he ended up swaying the court to the point that I was the bad person. The kids, so he coached the kids, and I kept saying to my solicitors and the court, one thing I want to point out is, going back, the thing I would change now, I would go and have a counseling and help straight away. When the police was offering me, do you need help, do you need counseling? And I said no, because I thought I can manage it myself. And I wasn't strong enough to fight back.
Yeah.
So I lost lots of battles because I was not strong enough and I wasn't able to communicate my point.
Yeah.
Because I was still at the time when, he was still in my eyes, the Rottweiler, right? Now he is a Chihuahua. But at that time, I was so scared because I was on my own. I was still in my mind that stupid Eastern European who can't do anything. So coming from somewhere where you're not in control and you're not allowed to control anything, to somewhere where you have to cope for yourself and be on your own with kids and stuff, it was a massive difference, massive change for me. And I did try to go back for the kids' sake because they kept saying to me, they don't want broken family, they want to have nice childhood and stuff. And I did try, I gave it my best shot. But each time I tried to go back or try to give him some kind of benefit or doubt, everything within a week or 10 days would go back to where we were.
Square one, yeah.
Square one.
You can't
People like that don't
teach an old
change.
dog
They don't
new
change.
tricks. You just
Not
can't.
going to change.
Well, I have learned the hard way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the divorce proceedings took, so that's, I left 2 years afterwards, or nearly 2 years, the divorce started, took 7 years. 7 years of court battles.
7 years, wow.
7 years. 7 years of
Wow, man, that's
hard struggle. And as I said, he's used a lot of money to pay the court for the best solicitor he could do. He is very good at researching. So while I thought the courts will see my point, the courts know he is the one who is the abuser. He managed to turn it around. And so I was the bad one in the court's eyes. He was the caring parent who loved his
Jesus
kids.
Christ.
In the meantime, and I'm only discovering it now, he was abusing the kids. He was coaching them, he was abusing them, he was threatening them, punishing them. They had to follow
What he said.
what he said.
But that's fear. You do what they tell you because you're scared.
yeah.
It's coercive control, whatever way you use it.
But
Yeah.
How old were the kids?
So the kids, by this time, I think 12.
Oh, they're vulnerable.
13.
They're
Of
kids.
course.
Yeah. And this took some time before it got prepared. And Jessie, my youngest, was coming back from school or not wanting to go to school, crying all the time that he wants mommy. And I just couldn't, because they were not allowed to tell me what's going on. And he started self-harming at school. And I was like, what's going on? Why is my child being this scared? Why is he self-harming? Because they were being coached into having to go to court, give their sentences. We want to live with dad. We don't want to live with
Oh,
mom.
God.
And that child was broken. But then my ex started going to school, standing by the gate, making sure he goes in when he was with me.
Oh, my God.
Because I couldn't work out what's going on. I didn't know that this is, When I thought I've got all the stops, everything, all the punishment, that it can't get any worse, this was proper hardcore worse. The worst. He knew my kids are my weakness.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get to me through money. I always found the way to work. I worked so hard to earn for us to survive. That didn't work out. I have found the job. I wasn't that stupid, so I've managed to get the job and I was able to work. That didn't work out. For him to kind of say, come back because you can't get the job, you can't earn any money, you can't do, you're too dependent on me, you need me, you need me, yeah? So that the last straw was the kids. And that one nearly broke me. I was in my lowest ever point. At the time when he won that court case, I was suicidal. I was going to end it.
God.
Yeah. That was hard.
Yeah, that must have been unbelievably hard for you. Fight all the way and then, and rightly so.
But
and
also
expect that you're going to win it.
A mother is a mother. You're taking away your children is just unheard of.
The worst thing was, I felt that the system here failed me massively.
That's what I'm about to say. It's incredible that how the system did fail you.
Yes.
Actually.
And I kept saying, look at they all through them are saying exactly the same sentences, exactly the same wording. I was told
coached, exactly. Yeah.
I was told that if I want psychologists, it will cost me £5,000 per child to have them examined and have psychologist reports. And I was like, I don't have that kind of money. Now, knowing this, I don't know what I would do, but I would get that money and I would have them assessed because it would save them 5, 6, 7 years of hell. Yeah. And as I said, I wasn't strong enough.
You say the system let you down because that should have been provided to you by the courts, the support. That should have been given to you as a benefit, I mean, there was they just accepted everything he said. Right? They accepted everything he said. Sense. Like you said, because he
is a charming man when it comes to it. He is the one who would never hurt his ex-wife. He is the one who cares about her. Narcissistic behavior. Yes. I didn't know at the time. Now I'm looking at it. He is prime example. The
textbook.
Narcissism,
absolute textbook. But at the time, I didn't know. At the time, I wasn't, even thinking about why is he the way he is.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah? And more of blaming myself and being so scared. I can't tell you how scared I was. And then there was the point that he was coming, or the kids were coming to my house and telling me what I did when they weren't with me. Because he had private detectives watching my every step. Every single step I was making. And not only that, by then I was seeing someone and he was being watched too.
But Jesus.
But worst thing, I called the police. I said, look, he knows absolutely everything what I'm doing. I'm scared to be in the house I was in. And they said to me, well, tough.
God.
Until he abuses you again physically, physical violence.
Or kills you.
And that was another thing. My friends knew. I said, if I call you, all my friends who were living close by, I said, if I call you or you have missed call from me, you have to come to my house. I was that scared. I really was that scared that he will do something. And I thought, I don't want to be part of statistics.
No.
And seeing how little that when you go to all these charities and they all give you these very high hopes. This will happen, this will happen, this will happen. And then you have someone who has got the money.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame.
He emptied the kids' savings accounts for his own benefit to fight me in the court.
Yeah.
He got money from his parents. I had nothing. I had nothing. I had to fight for everything on my own, by myself.
And his parents didn't help you at all, did they, during this period?
No.
Nothing?
No.
That's fear also. He obviously...
Not only that, they were hearing only his part of the story. And believed it because the father actually approached me very soon after we broke up and he said, come and live with your sons in my house. We will protect you. And I was like, no, your son is going to find a way to manipulate you because he is such a good manipulator. When you see him, when you meet him first time or second time, until you get on his bad books, you think, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing. He wants the best for everyone. Actually, as soon as you
Cross him.
That's it.
Yeah.
When you're in a bad books.
Typical
that's
narcissist, exactly.
Yeah, there
traits.
is. Completely.
Yeah, but the core time, there wasn't enough for them to see it, was there?
No.
It was me being weak, me not being communicating
Well, that's how he
properly.
painted a great picture of you, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, say, fantastic manipulator.
Yeah,
He paid
gift
for
of
all
the
the right
gab as well,
counselling.
isn't it?
He
Yeah.
paid for all the top people who could get his point across and paint you in exactly how he wanted you to be seen.
Exactly.
And once you're on the back foot, you're anyway on the back foot. You're never going to be assertive enough to say anything.
When I spoke to barristers afterwards, they said to me the courts are unfair because I know now people have, through my journey, I have met people who have been mistreated like I have. Unfortunately, I'm not exception.
Yeah.
It happens. To this day, it happens. And the barrister told me is if the judge doesn't like you, doesn't matter what kind of person you are, or if you don't win the judge over the first hearing, that's it. It doesn't matter what court it is, or if he has better solicitors or the other person. They can be wrong. It just shows how corrupt or how bad the system is that even when I had the Kafkas officer coming to my house, he told me my ex-Eastern European wife ran away with my son. And that was such a wrong thing from Kafkas officer. And I wasn't strong enough to go and complain.
Challenge it.
He should have been struck off.
It should have been,
If he comes to my house and tells me this, I knew that's it. I'm done.
It's basically parroting your husband's narrative.
Exactly. I knew it. With this sentence, I was like, it doesn't matter.
You knew you were done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like Eastern Europeans.
Exactly.
My
Imagine
ex
that.
painted himself as the most caring father. My kids were allowed to have friends once just before Kafka's officer came to the house, they were allowed to have friends.
Oh no,
Jesus
So he
Christ.
played it. He literally studied
Played it like a
everything.
fiddle.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that was me struggling, working really hard to survive and make sure that, the kids have got some kind of childhood, taking them actually out all the time and being with them. But I didn't play it right. I didn't do the theatrical thing in front of the right people because I thought system will know.
Yeah.
And didn't.
So when you got the custody of the kids, and that's when, after you got the custody of him, when the court case basically was over.
He won a court case, and that was it.
And that was it. So did he then, that's when he started having you followed by a private investigator?
No, that was before.
That before all that.
That was to
so
prove
he was
his
using
point.
that.
He was using that in court,
Okay.
yeah.
So what happened then afterwards? So when he got the custody?
So when he got the custody, he couldn't care less, could he? He won it. That was it. He won that battle.
He just wanted to win.
He wanted to
try and
break me.
you. He wanted to try and break you,
win
yeah.
and break me. So he won that battle. So the kids were back with me full time within few months.
Oh my God.
He didn't care.
Jesus.
But what I did, and the boys backed me not to go back to court. And I did what I said I will do. I paid my child maintenance because in theory they were living with him.
God.
All this hard, it was such an abuse. Like me going to visit my family, I would have to pay a lot more money to take expensive flight because I would have to hand the kids over at 3:00 exactly. Each time, for example, I lived a bit further away from the school, we overslept. Solicitor straight away had the letter. She didn't bring the kids to school on time.
Yeah.
It was constant bombardment of. I used to say it. He loves his love of going to court, his love of writing letters, everything, every single thing. Like during our marriage, everything would be pointed out. When the kids were ill, suddenly this court order wasn't applicable because they would be shifted to my house to look after them.
I didn't want to know.
Yeah. So, and it's only now when lots of things, even with my sons, are coming, they're telling me about it, what happened and what they had to experience, what they have been through. So it was not only hell for me, which in the way, okay, someone leaves you, you're an Asian man who this is embarrassment for him or something, whatever the culture, but I discovered it was more him than anything else, his personality. He could be anything from any country.
Yeah.
I don't think the whole thing is about who
No,
you
it's
are
not.
or what. It's always what the person is themselves.
Of course.
Of
course, yeah.
It is
Exactly.
true, very true. And so that was hell. I must say that was my hell. That was my storm. That was so hard to go through. And actually, there was a time when I thought this will never stop. He is going to break me. He's going to do it because there is only as much as you have in you.
Yeah.
Well, you're still standing.
So when did it end? I mean, so you got the kids back and they were with you.
So,
and obviously they were very damaged, like psychologically damaged.
They are. So the whole thing, when I said my cage open, the door open, was when my youngest turned 18 because there was no more court, no more child maintenance.
Yeah.
That last payment I made.
That's hard to swallow. You
Wow.
paying child maintenance after all you'd been through, you to pay him child
But
maintenance.
it's for freedom. It's for freedom
but
from
I'm
him.
just saying, it's a failure of the system. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It's absolute failure because I was living, when anyone done my accounting, they said, do you live on the verge of poverty? While he was
Lapping it
dodging
up.
his books.
Yeah.
Having a beautiful, amazing house in a very good area. And that's me. Yes, I did. Luckily, I had very good friends who, I was renting a house from them, and they really helped me. Without them, I would not be able to do what I did.
That's a good point you mentioned there, because obviously you had friends that were supportive, but it must have affected your friendships as well, this whole thing going, because obviously you had mutual friends, so they were hearing his side of the story, and then you were trying to say...
So luckily, we didn't have many mutual friends, and the friends who believed him, they were no longer my friends.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's good.
I have to make that decision very clearly. And also, I did not want to have mutual friends because anything I tell them will go straight to him.
Back to, yeah.
Because he will find a way to get it out of them, even if they don't want to say it. And he actually, there was a period of time, he was approaching all my friends.
Oh, your particular friends.
My group of friends, telling them, just tell her to come back. I miss her so much. So he was trying to manipulate them as well.
Oh God, what a little shit.
So, and they would go to the point when they were like, we don't want to see him ever again. When my mom when I first moved out, started working, my mom was here and he kept coming to the house all the time. And she kept saying to him, you're not supposed to be here, go away. And he was insisting on having to be in the house with her own children because I've started working, so I needed to be at work.
Yeah.
And since then, she really didn't want to come back here, just in case he turns up or something. So
Right.
it's the path, the damage he has caused.
Yeah, so many knock-on effects. So yeah,
Is so many people. And then there was the period when we were going through the not maintenance, the custody battle.
Mm-hmm.
My kids were not allowed to talk to their friends, and their friends who were their parents were my friends. So they completely alienated them as well against.
Right.
They would not say hello. They would not talk to them. They became so cold.
More damage.
More damage. In the friendship circle, though, they lost all these friends because they were ordered not to talk to them. And then my friends, a lot of them went like, they are horrible to us. We are not going to come and see you again because we don't want to be in this environment. Especially one of my sons can be very, very cold. And he he was the most aggressive towards me at some point. The things he told me, child should never ever say to mom. But that was things he was told that he has to tell me.
But is he? Does he get it now or not?
He is the most similar to my ex-husband. The way he treats people, the way he speaks to people, which is really unfortunate because
that's sad for you to
the apple never falls too far from the tree.
The other two are very different, but he is extremely similar. And the way he talks to us as well as a family, we told him a few times, me and his brothers, don't talk to us like this because it's not, and this is what I said to my ex-husband as well. This is not what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah.
The controlling voice, the dominating voice. And how can you be so stupid to do this or forget to buy this? And this is my son taking it on. And I've heard him talking like this to his girlfriend, which is horrible. That is one of the things that really hurts me because he will be treating women this way as well. Same. And he has been through counseling. It's just not enough.
The damage is done.
Damage is done. And if he needs to make big changes, it will take years and years and years.
Wow.
And
a lot of effort.
A lot of effort.
Huge
from him.
amount.
But does he realize he needs it?
He realizes he needs it and he goes for it. Somehow then it's almost like that period when he actually goes through the counseling and stuff,
He's good.
better. He's better. He's not there. He's better. But we go back.
Yeah.
Afterwards, 2-3 months afterwards, we go back.
It's like one
Default-
step forward, two
default
steps back, isn't it? Until you actually get
Yeah.
past that.
I don't know what it is, but it seems to be that he just can't get
How
out
old
of it.
was he when all this was going on?
So I left when the twins were 6, 7.
Yeah.
So it's a long time ago.
See, he probably realized that might is right, or might, if you're strong, you get the benefit. Like, but your husband did. If I bully, then the person listens. So I think you get into that mode where if I bully someone, he'll listen to me.
I don't think so, but he hates it. He hates being spoken like this. And he was the first child to come living back with me. Because he could not stand his father treating him this way. It's almost like it's somehow inside him.
His DNA,
Yeah, exactly.
kind of.
Exactly. Well, he is his father's son. He's just a child, so...
They say the apple never falls too far from the tree.
And obviously been through what he's been through,
Yeah, and you don't know how kids take it.
Oh, true, very true.
How do they absorb it? What is going on in their heads,
So, so divorce came through, the kids came back to live with you, and so your husband was living in his palace still, continuing on. So how did it all kind of phase out where you actually got your freedom and it kind of dissipated?
So I've started becoming stronger and stronger. So as a person, as I said, from Rottweiler, he became Chihuahua. Now I just see him as yapping because he still does it. It was more me thinking in my mind, I can't let you have the kids. If they're with you full time, even when it came to the suicide thing, I was like, he will be the one who is going to be in charge of the kids forever.
Yeah.
Without me being present and without me kind of being there for them. I thought, I can't do this. I have to get through it somehow. And I think that from that very, very low point when I was so deep into kind of almost like self-pity, system has failed me, I have kind of become a lot stronger and I started being me again.
Yeah.
So Lucie, if you met me when I was married, I would be extremely different person to what I'm now. Very subdued, very quiet and kind of worried about everything. So I had to almost like rediscover myself, and I'm still working on it. I'm not, it's been years and years and years of damage, so it's not going to happen.
But you've taken counselling, haven't you?
I have. I've started it. I have done a lot of self-work as well, working on me in the way that I wanted to find out why and what can make me
undo the damage.
I don't know if you can undo it, but now in the way that I have come to terms with it, and I can see now that we have to go through tests in life. This was my one.
So he doesn't live in the UK anymore. He moved out of the country. He moved away. Basically.
He still has his palace here.
His palace is still
different
here.
Palace, and which is palace worth for Well, for him, is everything is show off. I have got the best of best. I've got expensive things because he needs to be seen as someone successful who has it all. Well, it's actually not true, but what the people know, they don't. So he is very chauvinistic and show off. So he is not living in this country. No, he has got his very, very young girlfriend who is apparently very quiet and very good to him because she doesn't have many opinions. And I mean, a lot younger. We're talking 30 plus years younger.
Oh, wow.
30 years younger.
More than that, yeah. Similar age to my kids. So that is not, I don't think it's right. And I feel almost like this motherly protection over her because I know he's going to damage her as well.
For sure.
He is going to hurt her, and unfortunately it is what it is. I have to let it go. I have to, this is her path. This is her life path. But if I could somehow, I would just say, please, just
Get
live
away
your
when
life,
you
get
can.
away, because she is not working now. He doesn't want her to work. She wants to be there for him all the time, his servant. And I'm sure that she's very intelligent young lady, if it is a lady. Kind of pointed out where the country is right now. But we just, the thing is that he is going to be damaging people. That the
For the rest
path
of his
is
life.
for the rest of his life. And he's not going to say that. He doesn't say it. He
How
doesn't
often
know.
does he come back?
I think every 6 months or something. It's become longer and longer, the periods between
How
him
do the
coming
kids
out.
handle it?
They go see him because he's their father. They say hello to him. They are, as one of my sons said, he is a person. He's almost like this cold person I know. He is definitely, they don't see him as loving father.
Yeah.
They see him as manipulative, horrible person who only think in life he wants is for him to be seen as a good person. Doesn't matter how much damage he causes on the way.
Yeah.
So they don't really have much of a relationship. They do it for the grandparents because they ask them if, that is their father.
And how are the grandparents? I mean, how are his parents with you?
They're fine with me. They're really nice.
So they realize now that
They never had anything against each other. It was more that I didn't want to be present just in case they would say something to him, because I was almost paranoid at some point.
not surprised.
Yeah,
Not
about
surprised.
what else is he, because every time I thought there can't be anything coming my way, like the stops at the back, that he would find a way. He would find something else, how to make the wound deeper.
Yeah.
And or he would stop me again. And there was a point when I just thought, what else is coming? Because I have been through so much, you know. What else can he come up with? And trust me, he would come up with something.
For sure.
He would work something out.
For sure he would. But his parents, do they realize now what your son is
They
actually
do.
like?
Yeah.
And
They
how-
do, but
yeah.
this is still their son.
Yeah.
And I would respect that. I have to respect it. It's unfortunate because...
That's very good character. I mean, that shows great character for you to see it that way.
Yeah.
It's good, very good considering what you've been through.
Yeah.
That's great character.
But, it's...
But they're not stupid. I mean, they may love him because he's part of their DNA, but it doesn't mean they like him.
Yeah, true. That is very true. And the more they are finding out about the damage, and as I said, he is not nice to them either.
Yeah.
So he is always, he wants, he doesn't give.
He's just a nasty, bad person. He really is, in every sense of the word.
But the thing is, no matter what it is, like you may share the DNA of somebody, but like I always said, that if my dad was my neighbor, I wouldn't be speaking to him ever in my life, but he's my father. And there's a side, I love him, but I loved him, but I didn't like him. I never liked him at all. He was very narcissistic and a bully, basically a bully. That's all you could call him. And they even take on the faces of people like that. Their faces change from nice, good-looking people to
Yeah, it shows in their faces.
anger and all this. And I love him, and I still love the memory of my dad, and I love the little things he did. I still remember, but I don't like him.
Yeah. No, it's a fair comment.
I'm never,
Exactly.
ever going to like my dad.
That's a fair comment.
That is very, very good point. Very good point. And from someone who has experienced that as well with your father.
And there are times when that side of love, and I saw him perched on a chair at Haagen-Dazs eating an ice cream. I just wanted to hold him and say, Dad, why couldn't you love me? Why couldn't you just love me for 1 minute? And I'd have loved you for the rest of my life. But that feeling came over me.
Yeah.
And then he turned to my mom and said, hurry up and eat.
Isn't that such a shame
And-
that to this day you feel like this towards him?
Or there's no
that-
atonement for it. Sometimes you don't get atonement in this life. That's the way it is. You have to obviously...
And the number of times he yelled my name or yell this, and now and then Murray means little one, and he'd look at me, suddenly he'd say, when he was blind and very old, and I'd walk into the room and he'd say, who's that? Who's that? And I'd say, Dad, it's me, Papa too. And he'd say, Murray. And whenever I think of my dad's voice now, it's Emery. I'd never think of anything else.
Yeah.
Because that's all I wanted.
Yeah, good.
It's true. That's all you really want is love.
You want love, yeah. You want someone to say to you, appreciate it.
And I do that to the dogs, you know. I look at them sometimes and I go, Emery. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Those are things I want. That's all you want in life.
Of course. Yeah, of
and you're
course.
a very giving, very loving person.
Look at you. You know, I know one thing. I'll tell you something that I noticed in you. Whenever you come, it's what you do that I do. I feed people to show them how much I love them. And you do the same. You feed. It's like you're filling that thing inside.
That was very that is true. And that was the only way I remember my mum showing her affection or love is through food. So in the way that I am my mum's daughter.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, didn't we? It's the pleasure we see. If people do like and enjoy the food,
honestly,
it gives us tremendous pleasure.
Last night at the table, it was funny because we were talking about mangoes, and I said, my dad, the mango season, Alfonso mango in Asian households. And my dad used to give us he'd eat a mango in front of us, and then he'd give us one, and mum and the 4 daughters and the cook and the help would share that one mango. And Rajiv came over one day, my husband, and he saw my dad eat this, and then we were chopping these pieces up, and then we gave it to the guests, to Rajiv and you know, and he couldn't understand my dad eating it. And from then on, every mango season, Rajiv would bring me to the tennis courts where we trained. We were on the circuit. He'd bring me a mango, and I'd sit on the top of the Cricket Club of India's the steps, and I'd sit up there, and I'd eat this mango, and what I call choosify it. I'd squash it until you get juice out of it, and I'd sit and eat that with mango all over my tennis clothes. But every mango season, every day, he bought me a mango. And then in the the sitafal, the custard apple, in that season he'd bring me one. Until today, at night, it's the mango season now, and he brings a mango up to my bed every night.
Yeah,
and but it still doesn't stop that feeling when I see it, and I yearn for these mangoes, and now it's there, and I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yes, but it is showing affection as well, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's you just don't need it because you know you've got it. Once you have it, you think it's there now. I don't need you to give it to me.
Yeah, of course.
Because as a child, you were probably needing that kind of like, even if he gave you...
It's not the mango, it's the
not
feeling.
The mango, exactly.
Dad giving it away from him would be the sacrifice of and the love.
Of course, yeah, of course.
True. But now it's like, no, I get that. I know it. I know you love me, Raj. I don't need it now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
It's weird, isn't it?
That was one of the things with my parents, that they always made sure that me and my brother have everything more. So if there was a fruit or something, that we were growing up during communism. So like Christmas and stuff, you only were allowed certain amount of things, but they would never touch it. So us kids have it.
See, that's having children, that's sacrifice. And I see every time you come in, you give something, but it's made by you. And it's done by you. And I see that in you. And I see, my God, she's like me. And you've had a lot of journeys like me as well. And I resonate with that with you. And, you're like obviously I protect you as well, because I do. I protect you in some weird way. I do. Because I see me there, in a way.
We have had
very similar journeys.
Yes, absolutely.
Just to go back quickly before we wrap up on your ex-husband, because when we were talking about it before off here,
can I kill him? No, sorry.
You can. No, well, you have to get in line.
Okay. You might have to cut this bit out in case he disappears.
Nobody's going to notice, believe me.
No.
But we talk about, I'm going to mention this word karma, because karma doesn't exist. Because just to mention about your ex-husband, correct me if I'm wrong, but did he not win the lottery not once but twice?
Oh, don't tell me this. I'm going to go mental. But how much?
I don't know the exact amount, but he did quite big sum of money. Like we're talking big sum of money.
I want to say, for fuck's sakes.
Does it make him any better?
No, but it's just.
Does it
I'm
make
just
him
saying.
No.
My point
Listen,
is just-
how
it just
old is
can-
he? How old is he?
He is 64, probably.
Okay, he's got a long time to suffer, trust me. If
Well-
he falls ill, he will...
I'm not talking about that. It's not about that suffering. He can suffer. I mean, that's a lot of people suffer, but I'm talking about he won the lottery not just once but twice. Right? He could have done something good
Hey,
with that.
he
with that
lost the
money.
lottery. He lost the lottery. Not once, but 4.
Yeah, of
he lost
course.
his wife,
Yeah.
who loved him, and he lost 3 kids. He's lost the lottery 4 times.
Yeah, well, I'm just making a point that the karma
That
doesn't
karma
exist.
doesn't
But
exist.
in your mind, you think that the money is karma, you know, on this occasion. And my comment was, where the bloody hell is this karma thing? Is it going to happen?
But the point is, you needed the money. You didn't win it. Even if you weren't doing it, nothing came your way to give you.
Yeah.
I get that. I get
cash. You know what I mean? When you needed it, this guy didn't really need the money. Had it, wherever it came from. But then all the bad things he's done.
I'm sorry, but she's won the lottery twice right now because 2 people who never knew her love her.
Of course, yeah.
And we love her dearly. And that's winning the lottery.
Absolutely.
Who can say that about
Yeah,
him?
no, I'm not making this point as I make. I'm just saying that.
Is what
Right.
you're saying.
I know. You feel like...
Putin is one of the most
I know.
evil person on this planet, and he could die tomorrow and not suffer anything. So this thing about karma, when people say, "Oh, karma," it doesn't exist. Really, it doesn't.
That's why I
You'll
believe in
pay-
a next life.
The next life, exactly. There is a next
he will
life.
pay. He will
That's what I'm
pay.
saying. But it's not in this life. It's just ironic. After
You know
all the
how
bad
I see
things,
it? And I can see what point you're making. I see him as being a person full of this black, horrible
Energy.
matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
And
what-
that is
him.
eating him alive
Oh,
from
for
the
sure.
inside.
Yeah,
To
you know?
exactly.
behave like that, you must be
Yeah.
not happy.
But it's almost like, he won the lottery. God's given him a chance maybe to do something good in his life, and
The only thing
doesn't do
I
anything.
was going to say is that he won the lottery and he did not give a penny to his sons.
Imagine.
See,
After
now,
all he put him through.
now to
Yeah.
me, that's in itself is losing the lottery. That's how I look
But
at
that's what I'm
life.
saying. It's almost like given a chance to do something.
Yeah. Something good, and he
Something
didn't
good.
do
And
it.
he didn't.
He didn't do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, twice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Twice. Such an irony. So
That
is
really bothers you, right? Because every time he talks about it, he says, how could he have won the lottery twice?
Well, yeah, but it's true, right?
I'm telling you, he lost
crazy.
four
I
big
play lottery
lotteries.
and I never win anything
Look, I have
significant.
goods now. I can.
But look what you got.
I know, but I'm
you
not-
got the love of all of us.
That's more important. I know. I'm not
Yeah, I
using
know.
that
No, but I
association.
look at it that way.
Financial-
Like I
not
always
with
say,
the
people
financial
say,
aspect of it.
when Rajiv is like, everything he touches turns to, he's got the Midas touch and everything. And I think, I don't see that side of him. I mean, what do you see me walking around with diamonds all day? Oh, okay, maybe. No, no,
we go.
seriously, no.
It's not Lucie
Not
with diamonds.
really.
Lucie in the sky, yeah.
No, I'm telling you, like most of the time, I don't. Okay, I had guests over yesterday. Okay, I make an effort because Mom always used to say, "Don't go bare-eared and bare hands." She always had a problem with that because in Indian culture, kind of thing. So, and this I can't take off because I can't see. I don't have glasses.
So that was bring it back on point because we're almost out of time. So the thing is, I've obviously coming up since 12 months now, since or a bit longer since I know you, and I've seen massive changes in you in a short period of time. So leaving behind all that psychological baggage you've had experiences with your husband that you've been through, you've really recently started to come out. Your cage is opened, is how you describe it yourself, and it really has. So you've got a lot of things in the pipeline, haven't you?
Yes.
Ambition, things you are achieving, you want to achieve, and only yesterday you recorded your first, which is soon to be released podcast. You've got a
Yes.
podcast coming out very, very soon.
Yes.
So what's the title of the podcast? And tell us what it's about.
So the title is Built from the Storm with Lucie, and it's all about my life. It's about sharing my story and hopefully inspiring people, women, anyone who is like struggling and going through the hard times to see that there is a light somewhere. The storm will pass and the nice bright sky will come again. To start and to actually be here for people who need it, who need someone who has been through it. And I always said when I was going through my divorce and horrible times, if I only had someone who has been through it, and instead of, you don't feel the same pain or you don't feel the same experiences unless you have lived it yourself.
That's for sure, yeah.
And that's, if I can, with this podcast, help someone or even inspire them to change what is not right in their life or stop their suffering, that would be the biggest lottery I could ever win.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Well
exactly.
done, you.
And maybe that's the purpose of everything you went through, is for this.
Yeah.
I feel it. I felt it for a long time. I just wasn't strong enough to deal with it. I have tried a few years back, but I wasn't strong enough to even talk about it. To be out there and talk about these experiences. It was too raw. It was too painful to talk about it. So yes, the cage is open and I'm ready and I'm strong enough. Yeah, I'm strong enough to deal with this and to have the podcast and be there for others.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing, he may be a Chihuahua, but you're a golden retriever.
Oh, thank you.
And you'll always be one.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
So that podcast is going to be released weekly, every 2 weeks?
So every fortnightly on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, what time?
4 a.m.
4 a.m.
Oh.
Good, excellent. So it's
Tuesday,
going to be
4 a.m.
So it's going to be available on Spotify and Google and
we will have our Facebook
all the
page.
streaming platforms.
Oh, fantastic.
All the streaming platforms.
And you're developing a Facebook page especially for that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So all those details.
Will you repeat the name, please?
We'll put the name is
Built from the Storm with Lucie.
I love it. What a fantastic. It's
fantastic.
It really
Very
is a fantastic title. So it is.
Yeah.
And you recorded your first one yesterday. It was an introduction to the podcast. So everything
is finally happening. It's finally here.
It is happening.
All these years of wanting to do this. You
found your voice.
I found my voice. Past the storm.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell the story. The very important thing is that I have survived it and I'm become stronger.
Absolutely.
And I can be here for others now. I'm strong enough to do that.
Yeah.
Some time ago I wouldn't be, but
you were
now
always there for others. Remember that.
I was always, but I mean, in this way of being able to share my story and talk about the wounds.
Yeah. People will get courage from you.
So that's so important.
So I personally believe that podcast can be very successful. I think so. I think it's everything is falling into place for you.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. We're going to obviously heavily promote that here anyway.
Absolutely.
But what else is there? You've obviously got other ambitions because you're teaching English to a very high level. You've got students. Over the years, you've been hosting foreign students and you work for a medical legal
work as well. So there is few parts of my life which I'm discovering and developing, but the teaching. So remember when I first came to UK, I wanted to do the highest level of English to be able to teach. That has happened too. I am doing really well. I have got numerous students now. I love it. I found myself in teaching. I kind of always knew that I would love to teach, and I actually. When people say, "Oh God, it's Monday, I don't want to wake up." For me, it's like, "Yay, it's Monday!"
That's a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a great feeling. I love what I do. I love my work.
Yeah, you have to love your work.
I love it, and I'm hoping that it will develop to something bigger and powerful. And again, even with the English teaching, I am there to help the students. I'm there to prepare them to travel and do what they want in life. It's not always is about money, isn't it? It's about helping others and being there for others. Of course. And that's kind of my motto that I would love to take forward is I'm here for anyone who needs me. I'm here for anyone who would like to share and tell me and get it out there. Very often we keep it inside, we don't talk about it. Once it's actually out there and we feel this massive relief. And I find that in my journey. I stopped talking about things, but now talking about them, it is almost like releasing the reminders of the heartache and everything I had through the story.
Well, it's getting the monkey off the back, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's what it is. I mean, you've had an incredible story. I mean, absolutely incredible. And thank you very, very much, Lucie, for coming in and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing with our audience.
Anytime.
Absolutely. I mean, so
And she's part of the Funny Farm family
She is
now.
part of the Funny Farm family.
I love it, love it, love it. Thank you, guys.
With the Bobula, she's snatched the Bobula.
Yeah, he's yep.
Elton,
Bobula,
the
yeah.
pup.
Like you, he's still standing.
Yes.
You're still standing.
We are standing
What
together.
message would you like to give to everybody listening out there?
The storm will
From you.
pass.
The storm will pass.
Storm will pass, and you will be stronger. We have more power than we give ourselves the credit for.
Mm-hmm.
We are strong. We are there for others.
Absolutely.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a great message, and I love the name of your podcast. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I
I
think
really
it is
wish you the
too.
best luck with that. I've got no doubt it's going to be fantastic. And
you.
your other ambitions that you're working on at the moment, I think everything is going to fall into place for you. It's your time. I really truly believe it's your time.
I need this support. So
I
thank
think
you
it's-
so
I
much.
think
Just
it's-
build me up.
It's your time.
As you say, in life
you,
you
my
need
baby.
things. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So yes, thanks again for having you here. It was really a pleasure.
We can't finish without saying Tommy.
Go on, join in the fun. Come on.
There you go.
Great. Right. For myself and the wonderful Indiraa, and of course Lucie, we always say a big
bye.
Well, folks, on that note, that's where we're going to leave it for today. Hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we have, and we look forward to bringing you more of the latest news and hot topics surrounding mental health on our next show. Remember, new episodes of the Mad Podcast drop every Sunday at 6 p.m. Episodes are available to listen to on Spotify, Apple Music, and of course, the Musicians Against Depression website, an online toolbox that contains a wealth of information, essential reading, and links relating to mental health. As always, if you or someone you know would like to join the conversation, either in studio or remotely, email us at musiciansagainstdepression@gmail.com or visit the MAD website at www.musiciansagainstdepression.uk for further info. All links, including social media, are provided in the show notes. And remember, no problem in life is insurmountable, and help is just a conversation away. Until the next time, from myself and the wonderful Indiraa, take care.